Take a look at this photo. A humble man, warm smile, dressed in white, waving from the balcony of St. Peter's Square. That's Pope Francis, the spiritual leader of 1.4 billion Catholics around the world, who sadly passed away on April 21, 2025, at the age of 88. But have you ever wondered how an ordinary man became a global symbol of peace? Today, we're going to dive into the incredible journey of Pope Francis, from a boy in Argentina to the Vatican's highest seat, his lasting legacy, and the shocking events at the heart of the Holy See. Born Jorge Mario Bergoglio, he became the first Latin American pope in history when he was elected in 2013. Over 12 years, he reshaped the world's view of the Vatican, not as a distant institution, but as a beacon of compassion, justice, and peace. He lived simply, called the poor to comfort them, and spoke out for migrants and the environment. But it wasn't an easy road. With fragile health, internal scandals, and opposition from conservatives, he faced countless challenges. On April 21, 2025, just one day after giving his Easter blessing, he passed away due to a stroke and heart failure. In his will, he requested a simple wooden coffin and burial at the Basilica of St. Mary Major. Now, the Vatican enters the sede vacante period. The seat is empty, awaiting a new pope. Will Francis's legacy continue? Who will lead the church next? Stick around to find out. Welcome to Zero to Billion. If you're hooked by this video, smash that subscribe button for Zero to Billion to catch our latest, can't miss content. From Buenos Aires to the Vatican, Jorge Mario Bergoglio was born on December 17, 1936, in the working-class neighborhood of Flores, Buenos Aires, to an Italian immigrant family. His father worked for the railway, and his mother raised 5 children. Jorge loved soccer. He was a die-hard fan of San Lorenzo, enjoyed tango music, and often prayed at the local church. "I found God in the little things," he once wrote. At 17, during confession, he felt a calling from God that changed his life forever. At age 21, a severe lung infection nearly took his life, and part of his lung had to be removed. "Pain taught me to appreciate every breath," he later shared. That experience pushed him to give up his dream of becoming a scientist and join the Jesuit order in 1958. After more than a decade of rigorous training in philosophy and theology, he was ordained in 1969. Known for his humility, he often walked through slums to help the poor, taught literature, and wrote poetry. In 1992, he was appointed Auxiliary Bishop of Buenos Aires and became Archbishop in 1998. Despite his high rank, he lived in a small apartment, cooked his own meals, and took public buses. When he became a cardinal in 2001, he stayed humble. People still called him Father Jorge. After Pope Benedict XVI resigned in 2013 in a rare event, after 600 years the conclave of cardinals chose Jorge from 115 candidates. He took the name Francis to honor Saint Francis of Assisi, the patron of the poor. Breaking tradition, he chose to live at the modest St. Martha's house instead of the lavish papal palace. To 1.4 billion Catholics, he became a voice of hope. His life proves that humility can change the world. Pope Francis's legacy. In 12 years, Pope Francis left a powerful legacy of peace, justice, and reform. He made 68 international trips, from Brazil to Japan, from Manila's slums to refugee camps in Iraq, spreading a message of love and unity. In 2023, he sent a letter to Vietnamese Catholics, urging them to be good citizens and build a harmonious society, inspiring a community that makes up just 7% of the population. He met Islamic leaders in Abu Dhabi, signed the Declaration on Human Brotherhood, and prayed with Jewish rabbis in Jerusalem, bridging faiths like never before. Francis reformed the church deeply, appointing 111 out of 141 cardinals under 80, prioritizing leaders from Africa and Asia. He confronted the long-standing issue of abuse scandals by issuing public apologies and implementing new laws in 2019. holding bishops accountable. He overhauled Vatican finances, cutting corruption and publishing a transparent $300 million budget. His 2015 encyclical Laudato Si on climate change was even cited by the United Nations, sparking global green movements. He also supported divorced Catholics in receiving sacraments, controversial, but it widened the Church's embrace. On April 20, 2025, despite poor health, he gave his Easter blessing at St. Peter's Square, calling for peace in Gaza. He leaves behind a more inclusive church, but also a deeply divided one. While the number of Western Catholics has dropped by 10% since 2013, African Catholics have grown by 20%. He built an open Vatican, but challenges remain. Becoming the Pope, a tremendous task. Being Pope isn't easy. It demands deep faith, sharp intellect, and a resilient heart. The process begins with the Papal Conclave, a secret gathering of 138 cardinals under age 80 at the Sistine Chapel. A new pope needs at least 92 votes, 2/3. The next conclave is expected in May 2025. During the vote, cardinals are cut off from the world, no phones, no internet, only prayer. When a new pope is chosen, white smoke rises from the chapel, and the crowd in St. Peter's Square cheers. The chosen one is asked, "Do you accept?" He then picks a name and greets the world from the balcony. The Pope leads 1.4 billion Catholics and manages the Vatican, an independent nation of 800 residents with a $300 million budget. When Francis took office in 2013, he declined fancy clothes and chose his worn-out black shoes over the traditional red ones. He battled scandals, reformed finances, and stayed active despite health issues, spending 38 days in the hospital in 2025 for pneumonia. On April 20, 2025, he met U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance and called for peace. The papacy is a life of sacrifice, no family, no rest, only service. The passing of Pope Francis. On April 21, 2025, Pope Francis passed away at St. Martha's House from a stroke and heart failure, just 24 hours after blessing 35,000 people at St. Peter's Square while in a wheelchair. He had been battling illness since 2024 and was hospitalized for over a month. After returning in March, doctors advised rest, but he kept working. Dr. Andrea Arcangeli confirmed his passing via cardiac imaging. The Vatican declared a 9-day mourning period. Argentina and Brazil held 7-day national mourning. Church bells rang across Austria. U.S. President Donald Trump confirmed he would attend the funeral. Final wishes and farewell ceremony. In a will dated June 29, 2022, Francis requested burial at the Basilica of St. Mary Major, not St. Peter's, in a plain wooden casket engraved with Franciscus in Latin. "I feel the sunset of my life. May God bless all who have loved me," he wrote. He had a deep devotion to the Virgin Mary and prayed at this basilica after each of his 68 trips. He simplified the funeral, skipping the traditional 3-coffin rite and elaborate ceremonies. His body, dressed in white papal garments with a red sash and mitre, lay in state at St. Peter's for public viewing. The Vatican held 9 days of prayer, and Cardinal Giovanni Battista Re is expected to lead the funeral for 6 days later. Churches worldwide, from Rome to Hanoi, held memorial masses. The symbolic destruction of the Pope's gold ring marked the end of his papacy. Leaders from Argentina, Italy, and dozens of countries are expected to attend, with up to 2 million people visiting Rome. Who will lead the Church next? White smoke will rise, but who will lead the Church? After Francis's passing, Cardinal Kevin Farrell, 77, temporarily oversees the Vatican. The next conclave starts May 6, 2025, with Francis's appointees making up 78% of the voting cardinals. This suggests his progressive path may continue favoring the poor and the global South. Top candidates include Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle from the Philippines, age 67, known for his compassion and charisma. Cardinal Pietro Parolin from Italy, 70, a skilled diplomat, and Cardinal Peter Turkson from Ghana 76, an expert in social justice. Tagle, often called the Asian Francis, once drew millions in Manila. The conclave is a solemn, secretive process with up to 4 votes per day. A 2/3 majority, 92 votes, is needed. In 1922, it took 5 days. In 2013, Francis was chosen in just 2. The new pope faces big questions: continue Francis's inclusive vision or return to conservative traditions. The church is split, declining in Europe, but growing fast in Africa. The next pope must unify believers, tackle scandals, and steer the future. As we wrap up, let's remember Francis, not just a pope, but a father figure and a global voice for peace. Let's pray for the future of the Vatican and the Church.